as well. Happy to have Noah Gross in with us. Happy holiday week, Noah. First of all, we'll get your basketball or your football takes here in just a moment. Let's start with basketball because the women's team, they continue just to look outstanding, still undefeated there on the season. I believe they're number 2 in the latest AP poll still.
Yeah.
What's your overall take after another big win over South Dakota State?
Yeah, coaches are so good at hyping up the teams they play and acting like it's, like the 95 Bulls. But, I mean, South Dakota State's, a decent mid-major program, but, Texas should have played better than they did, and they still won rather handily. They jumped out to a 12-0 lead, and then the Jackrabbits came right back in it. It's kind of interesting for Texas, right, guys, because their head coach, Vic Schaefer, talks about, and he's been coaching a long time in a lot of different places. He says this is the most difficult non-conference slate he's ever been a part of, which I'm not doubting, but they've only had 2 true road games, and one was in the state of Texas where it was at UTRGV down in the valley, and there were more Texas fans there than I think it's Vaquero fans. And then so this was like their actual first road game where it was more fans that were rooting against them than for them. So it was a different kind of experience, and I think that was new for this team, which there's a lot of new faces. So South Dakota State, I'll keep wanting to say San Diego State every time I think about SDSU. Man, it's driving me nuts. But, yeah, Texas was kind of keeping it close, like a 4-point game late in the first half, early in the second half, but they pulled away. And it's, you're a good team when you can beat a good team on the road pretty handily, and your coach is like, I don't think we played well. And that was Vic Schaefer yesterday. But it's just they're so good. And as I'm sure you guys have heard from Roger before, Vic Schaefer's teams always play better late in the season. He just has the team ascending when it matters most. And I've never seen his teams be this good this early. So that could be, you could be a glass half empty and you're like, well, they're peaking too early. Or you could be like, this is the best team he's ever had here. So I tend to think on the latter side. This team is so special right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think when you beat South Carolina, who just played in the national championship just a few months ago, when you beat them in the non-conference schedule, that definitely helps. But I remember Roger, I'm sorry, I do not remember exactly the player's name, but I know she was from South Dakota, and that's the whole reason why this game was scheduled in the first place. I felt like when I heard about this game and Texas going to South Dakota State, I feel like they had more to lose than more to gain. So was there ever any talk about this game potentially being taken off the schedule, or was it just going to be played out?
Especially interesting because that player's not even on the team this year anymore. She was, and I don't blame you for not knowing the name because even if you saw it in front of you, I would kill to try to hear you try to pronounce it. It's the first 3 letters are NDJ. It's Jacqueline Wenentanda, who transferred out of the Texas program as well. So no, not that I heard of, and I think Vic Schaefer wanted the test like this. I'm sure it wasn't most ideal traveling conditions and everything, but he's giving his group some well-deserved rest. They have one more non-conference game next Sunday before they get into SEC play. So I think they get like 4 full days off to hang out with family and everything. So it was kind of, if you're going to have this trip, I think it's kind of a good time to have it. And like we said, there's not going to be many Texas fans that make that trip to Brookings, South Dakota. So while it's maybe not on the road to face like a Big Ten team and more easy travel, I think it was a unique experience that I think Vic Schaefer, who been doing this a while, knows how to kind of pull the right strings, was probably happy to try to have his team go through.
I believe Roger did make the trip, right? How did that go for him?
Yeah, I was really hoping for more intel. I'm like, oh man, I just saw Buffalo. No, he just, when Roger goes on a trip, here's the situation. Fly in, go to practice with the team, get some version of bar food like chicken sandwich, burger that you'll later complain about, bed, game. Nothing going to see the town. When Texas played at Alabama in football a couple years ago, and we flew into Birmingham, and I got there early, like 2 or 3 hours before Roger. I got the rental car, and I went to the Birmingham Museum of Art, which was outstanding, by the way.
Yeah.
Free. I was just looking for something to do. He was like astonished by that, as if he was like, what are you doing? You should just be waiting. And I'm like, well, I'd rather see something here and get some local cuisine. So, yeah, shout out to the Birmingham Museum of Art. It was beautiful. But, yeah, he's more business focused on the road.
That's hilarious, and as a Birmingham native, you're dead on that. That museum is awesome. The McWane Center is really good, and so it's 2 different travel styles, which I really love. He's probably been all over the country, so he's like, you know what?
Sure.
I've touched my feet
I mean, he goes on those golfing trips.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
He's got time for that.
He's got it. You mentioned the fact that it's there's one more game before the SEC slate opens up, and the fact that this team has not played kind of a true road game against a really tough opponent. In the first 5 games in the SEC, it's at LSU and it's at South Carolina for this team, and there's 2 of the top 5 teams there in the country. How do you feel that he will have to get his team ready for hostile environments in league play against the top teams?
Yeah, I think he's probably so fired up for it. And also he's, as I said, coaches and Vic Schaefer kind of leading the charge on this are so good at acting like their opponent is Goliath. They're also good at acting like their level of adversity is higher than everybody else's.
Yeah.
And he's talking about how injured his team is, which his team has been a bit beaten up, but it's just largely some depth pieces, and they're getting healthier. So I think they're in a much better spot health-wise right now, so they can kind of rotate more players in when it's going to be a more intense physical game in the SEC, whereas he's right. A lot of their main 3 guards have been playing like almost 40 minutes a game, and Rory Harmon, Madison Booker, and Jordan Lee's kind of elevated into that like trio role for her as well. So now they have Brianna Preston back, who's I think my favorite basketball player to watch, men or women. She's just electrifying. She was 4 for 4 shooting yesterday with 9 points. So to have her back and kind of spell some of those guards, and she can come in and provide such a spark, that's going to be big in the SEC. Last year when Vanderbilt came to town, Vanderbilt was ranked very, very good team and one of the best players in the country. That's when Brianna Preston had one of her breakout games and just like totally in an energized environment rattled off like 8 points and was like screaming and pumping everybody up. So to have her back, I think, is massive for SEC play.
Let's spin it towards the gridiron here. I mean, it was a hectic weekend. I think one of the craziest few games. I think the Texas A&M Miami game was a flip of what we thought the Alabama-Oklahoma game was. But what was your biggest takeaway from this past weekend?
Well, one, I want to say thank you for not asking me about the Texas men's team because I had nothing to provide. They haven't played since we last talked.
Here's the thing. Yeah. They haven't played since we last talked, and they also played Lemoyne, which is up by where I'm from, and they beat them by 40. So I'm glad they beat Lemoyne. You know, we're trending in the right direction.
Okay, Lemoyne, is that in PA or is that New York?
That's New York. That's Syracuse.
Okay. I'm on a quest. I know
Okay.
One of my friend's parents went to Lemoyne, and I can't figure out who it was. I've been asking around. So ever since that game was on the schedule for Texas, I've been like, did your parents go to Lemoyne? Did you? So one day I will find that out. But as far as the football this past weekend, first, my biggest takeaway, the haters were right. JMU and Tulane, no business being there. But I think that's what you guys have been talking about. My thing I want to say, though, is I tweeted this out, too. Just because a game is low scoring does not mean it's a bad football game. Like everybody was like, oh, man, Texas A&M Miami, how'd they let these 2 teams in? It was like a good game. It was just like some bad field goal kicking, some bad special teams, and good defense, which both these teams have. Miami's defensive front is incredible. Texas A&M's defense has been outstanding this entire year, except one half against South Carolina. Texas kind of shredded them a bit in the second half. But Mike Elko's defense is legitimate. I don't know how great Miami's offense is. I'm not a big Carson Beck fan, but for them to do what they did against Marcel Reed and that Texas A&M offense was incredible. I'm a big believer in the leap that Marcel Reed has taken this year. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So I thought that was a great game. I had fun watching that, and I was tired of people being like, this game's awful and having no fun, because I was like, look at what's coming up after this. This is way better than the next 2 games.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you this. Since we were talking just a few weeks ago about how all of Texas's rivals are in.
You stole my question.
How does it feel? What's the vibe like in Austin since Oklahoma loses and then Texas A&M loses the next day?
It's actually making me so mad because I don't care either way. Like we remain impartial. This is not Maryland in the college football playoff. That'll be next year. But like with having Texas in or Texas not in, they're acting like they won, and like all these, and like love the Texas, love the Texas SIDs and these fans and some of these media outlets that are fan based as well. But they're just like, oh, Texas won a playoff game last year and A&M hasn't, and I'm just like, okay, relax, man. Like, and then it's like just the level of hate watching is crazy. But I will say, for A&M to do this and have like their best season in decades and not win a playoff game at home, and you're still 0-2 against Texas, since you joined the ACC, since Texas rejoined the SEC, that's a big issue.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's like, yes, you've gotten so much better, but what have you accomplished? You haven't made the SEC championship game. You haven't beaten your biggest rival. You haven't won a playoff game. Because them getting in, it was like, okay, you haven't done any of that, but you have everything in front of you. Even one win against Miami, I think, would have silenced a lot of people. Damn. So the fact that they didn't is a pretty massive red flag for this program. That, I mean, because those are the hypotheticals everyone says, right? It's like, for Texas fans, it was posed a while ago. It's like, would you rather win a national championship as a 2-loss team and have those 2 losses be to A&M and Oklahoma, or would you rather like not make the playoff but beat A&M and Oklahoma? And I'm like, the fact that's even a discussion is insanity to me. So for Texas A&M to have kind of neither of those is not great, I would say.
Well, I'll say this: since you cover Texas, you don't really cover Texas A&M so much. Mike Elko got that extension this year. Do you think that was a little bit premature?
No, I am an Elko believer.
You are an Elko.
He has zero personality, and sometimes that's good. Like, he is just man, I hate listening to his press conferences. It is, first of all, he just sounds like judgmental. Every question thrown his way is just like, ugh. He's just like scoffs. So don't love that, but I think his just like vibe and aura is exactly what College Station needs, because Jimbo is just like a used car salesman, snake oil salesman, as people used to call him. So Elko seems to get the most out of his team and has he has a lot of Sark to me, where they are so good at finding, and Sark struggled with this the past couple of years, I'll be honest. But Sark a couple of years ago, especially like the first year they made the college football playoff, was so good at finding this specific player is going to fit in the portal. And everyone could tell some of these receivers they got were going to be great, but like how they fit and how they were able to elevate Marcel Reed was incredible. Now, losing Colin Klein, who I don't think called a very good game in the playoff, that could be an issue because Elko's a defensive coach.
Right. But
I do think the way he's turned that thing around is pretty remarkable.
Absolutely. As you take a look at the next round of games moving forward, do you see any upsets? The Miami, Ohio State, as of right now, Ohio State is about a 10-point favorite. Oregon, Texas Tech. That by seeding, Texas Tech is the higher seed. However, Oregon's a slight 1.5-point favorite. Of course, you got Bama, Indiana. Indiana about a touchdown favorite. Ole Miss, Georgia in a rematch there. And Georgia's about a 7-point favorite. Do you see any upsets there in that second round, knowing what happened last year with all the teams that got those first-round byes all losing?
Yeah, I could see. Well, I've been an Indiana believer for a long time, so I think Indiana will win. I could see Miami beating Ohio State, or at least keeping that game very close. That defense is so good, and I don't know if Ohio State's faced. I mean, the two best defenses they faced this year, they didn't do much on offense at all. Texas held them to 14 points, and Indiana, that was a very low-scoring game as well, and Miami's up there with them. So I could see Miami winning that game. And I do think Ole Miss, I would probably pick Ole Miss to beat Georgia. Just the energy they came out with. I know Kirby's just like the king of coaching mastermind tricks, but I could easily see both the I'm going to say 7 and 6 seeds winning, because I don't want to.
Yes, good job. Good job.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Get that nonsense out of here.
Those would be my two selections, because I don't think Tech and Oregon would be a real upset either way. I would probably pick Tech, but that's such a close game there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Thank you so much, man. I know it's been a crazy busy time for you, crazy busy month overall, but now you get a bit of a downtime. Safe travels. Have a great, great Christmas. Thank you so much for joining us here.
All right, gentlemen. Happy holidays. Go Terps.
Absolutely. Go